What is going on, everybody? Justin here, aka No Good Comics, and welcome back to the channel. We're doing another comic book review, and we're talking about Doctor Strange: The Oath. We'll get into the details here, and it's not just me. I keep saying we. I got my good friend and co-host of the night, as we're going to be breaking this down. My good friend Paul, aka PJ Morris. Glad to have him back on. So, Paul, what's going on, brother?
What's happening, everybody? What's going on, Justin?
Nice hat, man. Nice hat. Hopefully this year is a better year, you know?
Hopefully better things this year. We'll
That's
see.
right.
Pitch like he's supposed to pitch.
Yeah.
We'll
Okay. God. That and stay healthy, right? Can all our guys just stay healthy for 1 year?
Is like he's built like Tarzan, but he plays like Jane, you know.
They're fragile, man.
He is.
So how you doing, man? How was your holiday? How was your Christmas, New Year's?
Excellent. Yeah. Excellent. We pretty low key, obviously. I mean, we probably would have been low key anyway, but also with, kind of the way things have been trending the last, month or so, a few months, I guess. But we just kind of hung at home, to be honest.
Same here.
But we had a good time. And how about
That's
you?
good. That's good.
You did a little bit of traveling last month.
Same. Yeah, I was able to see some family. We had done the casino like a couple weeks prior to the holiday and everything, so that was kind of nice too. We're hoping. I know things are kind of rough right now, but we're hoping that we have a booked room coming up to heading back up north to Connecticut.
Oh, nice. Yeah, my wife's got the itch. She wants to go back. So.
Oh yeah. We're going to
plan something coming up soon.
Oh man, we'll have to link up sometime, man.
Yeah, definitely.
We're gonna go to Foxwoods one night, then we're gonna go to Mohegan Sun for a night, like a back-to-back night. Took an extra day off. So again, assuming like we feel comfortable enough to do so. I mean, we have our boosters and all that stuff, but just want to make sure we're comfortable about it. But otherwise,
getting my booster Thursdays.
Are you? Nice.
Yeah, next Thursday. A week from today. So we'll see. It's a little tough to find around my way, to be honest.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it was a little hectic.
I bet, especially with the holidays, man. Especially with the holidays, I could see that. I'm hoping that at least we get our Comic Cons going into the summertime. Obviously, Terrificon being one of my favorites. The one that you and I get to hang out at.
A Little Giant show in April.
Oh, New Hampshire, right?
Yeah, it's a great show, brother.
Otto and I know. Yeah, but who else was? I think Big Lion Cat. A few others were telling me about it too. I mean, I've seen some pictures and stuff.
Actually, Otto and them were there last year. I don't know if they're going this year, but
yeah. Well, oh man. All right, we'll talk, Paul. We'll maybe.
Stay on target.
I love it. All right, so I want to. I see we got 12 people hanging, which is awesome. Thank you all for hanging out with us. We'll get into the chat in just a second. Hey, I love it.
I should have my Doctor Strange shirt on, to be honest.
Oh no, all good. As I was saying before, we are going to be talking Doctor Strange: The Oath, and I wanted to. Well, actually, before I get into the details of like why we chose The Oath, because I want to have share that conversation of how I kind of picked your brain with everything. But before I do, let's just say a quick hello to the chat here. So I see a lot of people kind of going back and forth right now. We have my good friend Phil hanging out with us, Comic Talk Weekly. What is going on, Phil? We got Inja Binja in the house as well. She says she's ready. Very cool. Thank you, Inja, for hanging out with us as well. Let's see. We got Moonlit Comics Michelle. I was just talking to her earlier today. Michelle. Good to see you. And I think Michelle will be. I'll be hanging out with Michelle later today as well. We'll be over on the Team Nerd Herd podcast show. So good to see you, Michelle. PJ King in the house. Another Yankee fan. What's going on, PJ?
Nice.
We got let's see, scrolling through here. We got our good friend Nigel, aka Desired Comics, which he was hanging out with you and Morb Tuesday. So that was an interesting conversation. Had a good crowd there. A lot of fun as always.
Nigel's my man. Good.
He's the best.
Yes,
totally.
he is.
Totally. Good to see you, Nige. Thanks for stopping in. We got our good friend Michael, Sove Collector, also hanging out with us today. He was reading up on this. I'm sure a second or third time around for him as well.
Nice little wall display he posted today. Nice, Sove.
I saw that. Let's see. Phil says if I go from channel to channel, passing out snacks, I work off the calories I consume going from channel. Yeah, Phil gets a workout here as he goes, seat to seat from all these YouTube channels. Let's see. Jermaine Kelsa is in the house saying, I finally made it on time. Yes. Jermaine, thanks for stopping in.
Just talking to him earlier.
Nice. We got our good friend Unruly Simeon in the house. Peace to you, brother. Thanks for swinging by as well. Let's see, 62 Lefty Blue also hanging with us. Good to see you, 62. We got our friend Leroy in the house as well, saying what's up. And
that was good, homie.
Of course, we got our good friend Jason claiming
Jason,
comics.
It's for you, brother.
Cheers, brother. Oh, hey, here you go, Paul. I got some Macallans that I'm drinking tonight.
Oh, nice.
Going a little extra just because I have a long night of streaming, and so I figure I'd have a little fun. So, cheers to everybody. So that was one of my Christmas gifts.
Nice.
Macallan. Yeah. Let's see. We also had back issues Paulie hanging out with us. Another Paul
Big
who was
Paul,
hanging
what's
out.
Up, brother?
Got to hang out with him over at Terrificon as well. So good stuff there. Everybody in the chat, make sure you smash that like button if you haven't already. Do appreciate that. And if you're new, take a moment to subscribe. And I didn't say this earlier, but if you guys aren't following Paul here on my left, I put his Instagram information in the description below. So make sure you do so. Yeah, man, absolutely. It's only a matter of time before we get you on YouTube, right, Paul?
Working on it, I guess.
Maybe.
Crawling my way up, I guess.
We got the equipment now, right? We can keep going now.
Crawling my way out of the Sarlacc pit, I guess. That's Boba Fett.
Oh, I gotta watch the latest episode.
You have to, man. It's awesome.
It's good. I like the first one. I liked it.
Good. The first episode was great too.
Yeah. That ending was wicked. Promiscuous Time Traveler in the house. What's going on, my friend? Good to see you. I have him scheduled coming up here soon for Comic Collector Origins. So I think the end of the month here. If he's on
his lunch break, I'm guessing he's on the other side of the globe.
Yeah, actually, no, I think he just maybe just works nights. I forget where he's from now, actually, now I think about it. Hey, we got our friend Morbius we were just talking about. What's going on, Morb?
What's up,
cheers
homie?
To you, brother. I think we're all caught up here. Again, if you guys aren't following Paul, make sure you do so. I put his information in the description below, and if you want to talk comics, Paul's a guy to do that with. So I want to talk about Paul. I want to talk about why we kind of brought this up as Doctor Strange breaking down the oath, because for me and my channel, I mean, yes, I'm all about breaking down comics, and if anything, want to continue to do more of that, especially having friends and guests come on the channel. But I've never had anything Doctor Strange really related to the books that I've been breaking down. A lot of it's just been other characters or other publishers altogether. So I have to give credit to the Spider-Man movie. I think that that kind of pushed me over the edge with my curiosity to the character. So I thought that I would, do a little bit more reading on Doctor Strange and just anything, just about the character. And so for those of you who don't know, like that I don't know much about Doctor Strange other than what we know from the films. I've never really read anything comic book wise, unless it was a tie-in to something else that I've read. So I figure Paul here is the man to kind of pick the brain of to see what direction you could point me in. So I reached out to you, a couple days ago, or a week, actually probably like a week and a half ago.
What did inspire that? Did I post something, Doctor Strange, or did you?
I think it was you did. I just know I don't think you did anything recent. I think it was.
I was trying to. My wife asked me earlier, kind of what spawned this, and I couldn't recall.
No, I legit I think of you as like you have so much more knowledge than I do with a lot of the Marvel characters and some of the classic stuff. And obviously you're a dedicated reader. So I was like, I wanted to go back to some of the older stuff, and I know this is not necessarily old, like, I mean, it's, I guess you could consider the old modern, like but
early 2000s,
but it's still right. And so we're still talking 15 years ago or whatever. So it was a perfect, and you gave me a couple answers. So you told me the Ditko stuff was like trippier stuff, right?
Yeah. I mean, I kind of like the OG stuff, but I'm a big Ditko fan. So, which is actually a nice, awesome. There's a nice throwback to him in this series.
Okay. Oh, you have to point that out then, because that's that's cool. And obviously I've definitely heard of some Ditko stuff before. I mean, I know Ditko. I know I've seen his work, and that was one of the things that I think always has gotten me curious about Doctor Strange. The series, the different series, is just seeing that beautiful artwork of those classic issues. And obviously, I mean, I know you've posted stuff before. I know Morb has. I know Michelle Moonlit. Several others that I've just seen incredible artwork. So that was one thing that's always kind of piqued my interest. But it was really kind of the movie that where I was like, you know what, we have Doctor Strange coming up. Obviously, more stuff coming in the MCU. why not read something? Because I just haven't. So like I said, I reached out to you. You gave me some different things, but the Oath, it seemed, and correct me if I'm wrong, but the Oath seemed to be one of your top things to kind of go to in terms of a new for a new reader, right?
Well, yeah, I mean, especially like I guess the modern interpretation of Doctor Strange, you know,
Right,
which a
right.
lot of the Marvel characters now, their MCU success is no more so than like Tony Stark and Iron Man. Their MCU success kind of started to alter how they were portrayed in the comic. Now, when I read Iron Man comic, I'm hearing like RDJ, you know, like that's the
Oh,
tone
cool.
where
Right,
that
right.
wasn't the case.
Then,
So, as far as like a modern take, like the up to speed, the Oath is like a great like
yeah.
small 5 issue. Just read it, and you'll be like, you know, kind of you basically got all the basics down.
Yeah, and that was one of the things that really sold me too when you said that. It's 5 issues. It's very digestible. It's not too. I guess what I've always been concerned with this character is that he's too complex. That the character would be too over the top. With I know there's a lot of different villains and a lot of different unique names. Not even just like normal names that you and I are used to, but like unique villain names that are kind of obviously out of this world, very out of this universe. Like, so to me, it's, I always felt intimidated, like, or overwhelmed, I guess I should say, of like, man, am I going to know all these people? Like,
he's kind of a bit like unrelatable, like the original, you know, incarnation of how Doctor Strange was, you know, because he's so, you know, he kind of lacked like that humanity, I guess, because he's, you know, he's like a sorcerer supreme. He's this, you know, fantastic magician. So he doesn't have like earthly, I guess, concerns and issues type of thing. So yeah, he is kind of like, you know, he in previous series, that was like, I guess, why he probably never had like a lot of continuing series. He did, but they were always ended and they'd restart it. And actually, until this came out, he didn't really have a series since like the mid '90s. So whenever that Sorcerer Supreme series ended, I think it was issue 90, was probably like in the mid '90s.
Oh, okay. So there was a break.
So, but my point was like, this series does a great job. This mini a great job of making him relatable.
I was going to say spot on relatable. You know, just some of the decisions that he has to make are very human in that sense. So I definitely, that stood out to me as something, you know, as I was reading through this. So I definitely like that about him for this series. And sorry if my dogs bark here in the next few moments. They're getting picked up, so they're excited. By the way, Promiscuous Time Traveler said he works nights and he's on the West Coast. Okay, I had a feeling he was somewhere in the States here. But good to know.
I always wondered if you had that. Like, I don't know if me personally, I'd refer to it as lunch break, but I guess if that's what it is for you, I guess that's what. Although they're 3 hours behind, right? So yeah, I guess.
Yeah. True.
I could see it.
Yep. We got Swag in the house. Good to see you, Uncanny Swag. Swinging by here. Got our good friend Daryl, aka Read Your Comics, hanging out as well, doing a buddy read with him right now with Daredevil, which you're jumping on, man. You're jumping on.
No, I got something for you guys.
Some Frank Miller, man. Anybody that's never read Frank Miller, you want to read with us, just jump on in. We're all reading it. We started with 158. So anybody who wants to start, Daredevil 158 is where we're at. We're reading like once a week. It's just a fun kind of thing we'll talk about. So but yeah, so good to see you, Daryl. Thanks for swinging by as well. PJ saying he's talking about Ditko's art, psychedelic and surreal for sure.
It is, no doubt.
My good friend Gore Vidal here hanging out with us as well. Ditko, he's listing off all these classic names.
Run was great. Stern was great. Yeah.
The Foundation of Doctor Strange, and then Brian K. Who? So let me clarify, in case you don't know this, Paul, but Gore is not a big fan of Saga, which is obviously another Brian K. Vaughan.
I've never even read it or browsed through it, so I guess he's in his camp in that regard.
That's all right. He's just busting my chops though with this Brian K. Who stuff. I was excited to see that it was Brian K. Vaughan that did the writing, and Marcos Martin who did the artwork. So that's cool.
Beautiful
too.
Art. Yeah, it's like perfect. He's kind of like perfect to draw Doctor Strange. I wish he did more actually, but
totally. Totally agree. Smash that like button. Let's see. Daryl says there was Marvel Knights mini. Oh, okay. Ooh, be another one.
There was, but that was a weird. Is that the one? I think Straczynski wrote it, but it was really it wasn't really Doctor Strange in my opinion. If that's the series he's referring to, but in a lot of respects, Doctor Strange does work better as like a guest character. You know, he's more of a because he's not really relatable, it's kind of hard for him to sustain a series, and he doesn't have much of a supporting cast other than Wong,
Right.
who's very prominent in this series.
Oh, big time main character for sure. By the way, I don't know how this triggered, but you reminded me there was another a significant thing that happened that sparked me wanting to reach Doctor Strange, and I forgot. As you said, like you said, Doctor Strange does play as a good would you just say like a side character or
Yeah, like a guest star,
a guest star. That's the
that
So
type
he for John and I reading Omni X-Men, reading the X-Men stuff with Claremont, he was a guest star in Annual 4, and I had never read that, and we just reviewed it like 4 weeks ago, and so I'm like, okay, I'm gonna Doctor Strange visits the X-Men. I don't know, have you read that? Do you know what I'm talking about?
The Annual 5?
Annual
Is it 4
I think it's
or
4.
5?
I think
it's
it's 4.
4. You're right. It is 4. Yeah.
But it's got all the snake tentacles
that's
on the cover.
That's a great issue.
So that had to do with like the classic, what do you call that book? Inferno. The old, like, about hell and the different Dante's Inferno, that whole novel and series. So that was really cool and twisted, and like I got a taste of Doctor Strange that I never I never
read anything with him before that, like, or much?
No. So this is, I can't believe I forgot this. This is what I want to tell you. It was that book. In that book, it talks about Doctor Strange issue 16. It says to go back and check out, because he references it, saying like, man, I know what hell looks like. I was just there, and this doesn't look like hell. And he's talking about this whole Dante's Inferno type of story. And it says, see issue 16, Doctor Strange issue 16, to see what he's talking about, as hell. And so I actually went back, and that was a random Doctor Strange issue that I read. And it was about real hell. Like, he was in hell. And it was I really enjoyed the issue. I was not lost, but a lot of things were going on, and I was kind of in the middle of the series. But back then, those issues opened and closed for the most part, so I wasn't, I got the story for the most part. So if you guys get a chance, go read 16. But that's what sparked it. So reading X-Men with John and having Doctor Strange as a guest, then reading that and going to read Doctor Strange 16. And then the movie, Doctor Strange being in Spider-Man, all that stuff to me was like, let me read something. So that, and then you were just on my mind of like knowing a lot of things about comics. So I'm like, let me ask Paul here what his thoughts are on where I should start. So that's the story, long end of it.
I'll relay that story, although my wife's probably watching. So
it's so funny. I literally was like, there was a reason, I can't remember, but there you go. So. All right, so let's hey, we got coffee and a comic in the house. What's going on, my friend? Good to see you. Yeah, Swag says 4 X-Men Annual 4.
Okay.
It was a good one. It was definitely a good one. So, all right, let's I know we're like 18 minutes in here. Go ahead. Did you want to add something?
No, I was just now you got me thinking of X-Men Annuals. What's
okay, yeah.
I think it's, I don't know if 5's when they're fighting the Badoon or what. I'd have to check my books, but anyway.
Isn't it? Didn't Archon come back in 5? Or Akron? He was in 3, issue 3, and then maybe issue 5.
6 is with Dracula, and it's got this Sienkiewicz art. So 5 is, I feel like they're fighting the Badoon, and but it could be Archon.
Okay, all right.
It's been a while since I read X-Men Annual 5, to be fair, to be honest.
People just coming in, they're like, why are they talking X-Men right now?
I can't help it.
I know, same, man. Yeah, I could use some coffee here, Inja, for sure. Gore says Doctor Strange has benefited from great artists from his start. Some of those pages from Ditko, Craig Russell, Brunner, Colin, Paul Smith are incredible. Good stuff.
In the Martin, I don't know how you say it, Marcos. I guess it's
Martin.
Martin. This is my Halloween Comic Fest edition, but the art in here is spectacular.
Yep.
So
very nice.
I had to dig out the OG set when I saw Sove's post. I was like, all right, time to go digging. So
I was say you have them, right? You have them with you.
I had to dig them out. But I mean, the covers are awesome. This actually, the white cover number 5 is cool. I like that.
Oh yeah.
with
Yep.
the broken elixir. Well, no, it's not broken there yet, but
Mhm.
spoilers, it does get broken.
Spoiler. Yeah, let me I'll give my spoiler warning right now for anybody who's like, wait, I never read
Yeah,
the Oath.
you might
Uh even though it's been
want to
out
pause
15
it,
plus
go
years.
read it, and come back.
Right, right. Yeah, we will be spoiling this. You're getting some love there, Paul, for the
I
artwork you
appreciate it,
showed off.
guys.
Yeah, Jason said we switching to X-Men. Jason's about to jump on now. Very true, Swag. Never a bad time. Never a bad time.
True.
All right, let's get into this. I put this little slideshow together just so we can kind of show off some of the art as we go through this. But let me ask you this, Paul, before we even get into those details, like what was your general thoughts on this 5-issue miniseries as a whole, and maybe even now knowing you kind of reread and caught up again, you know, it's been a little while since you read it. So just generally speaking, and you know, how would you grade this 1 out of 10, 10 being the best? You know, where are your thoughts on that?
Well, I don't want to be too tough of a grader, but I mean, handing out tens is tough. So I mean,
Yeah,
obviously
no, no, no.
it's a solid
That's fair.
9, though. I mean,
Yeah.
it's really good, but it's So I didn't get this off the rack at the time. I was kind of light into my current comic collecting at that point, so I probably picked it up like a year or a couple years later.
Okay.
But it kind of blew me away when I first read it. I was like, wow, this is kind of drastic change on like take on Doctor Strange as from what I previously read, but it was
Yep.
also it was like kind of refreshing. It was cool. I love the art too. I had read, if you read the Brubaker Cap series, there's a 65th anniversary like special issue that's drawn by Martin, and it's so his art, I love his art. As soon as I saw it, I was like, it was really cool. But
wait, the cover or he did the interior?
he did the interior. It's like
Oh,
I think it's a split. I think it's Javier Polito, I think is his name, was one
okay.
artist, and he
Okay.
drew like chapters. But it's cool. It's like a World War II story with Bucky
So,
and Cap.
well, I was gonna say I just read it this past year. That was one of
Oh,
my
you read that?
I just read I read the first like 12 issues or whatever, like that main
Oh, that run. So that the
for Brubaker.
Brubaker run. Yeah, no. That's not his art.
Oh,
There
okay,
was
okay.
written. I group it up with the Brubaker run because it's written
Oh,
by
gotcha.
Brubaker, but it's like a one shot. It's like the 65th anniversary
Oh,
special or
nice.
something. But that's where I probably first saw his art and was like, wow, this dude's art is like. And then he did a lot of work with Spidey. Some of the I know there's like a white cover. I think it's Spidey 655. And anyway, so the art drew me in. Then because I'm not quite like the I forget his name on here. I'm not a Brian K. Vaughan hater or anything, but I just he's not really anything to me because I don't read a lot of them. So
sure.
After reading this, I was like, wow, this is really, I get this guy. It's kind of similar to like Bendis a little bit, where it's like a lot of that like snappy patter and kind of humor, but it was still a great read though.
Nice. Moonlit talking about the annual, saying that she has 4, 6, and 9 and needs more.
Nice.
That's good. Got to get that first one, that giant size. Go for that one.
Yeah. That's gonna be a little pricey.
Inja said, Justin, are you reading it digitally? Yes, I am. It's collected on the Marvel Unlimited app is what I used. She said I can't find it collected to buy. It should be Comixology or
my rereading on my iPad, so it is it is on well, so this is just from the straight Marvel though. I don't know I don't have Marvel Unlimited, but I would assume it's from there as well.
Yeah, so that's I got it on Marvel Unlimited. But Inja, you should be able to find it on Comixology too if you wanted to buy it as its own sole thing.
That's probably how I got mine, to be honest.
It's probably like cheap. It's probably cheap. It's probably like $5 for all 5 issues or something like that.
Yeah,
so,
I don't think it was much. Yeah.
Hopefully you can find it. I just saw my man Steve in the chat as well. There he is. Hip Hop's to me, Team Nerd Herd. I'll be hanging out with them in about an hour. Good to see you, brother. Yeah, there you go. Thank you, Jason. Good call there. Okay, so let's get into this here. So I put these slides together, but we can kind of talk as we go. Oh, and you gave it a 9. I'm gonna agree with you 100%. I think 9 is a spot on grade for this because it had everything. It had emotion. It had some good humor in it. It had some awesome artwork and action scenes involved. And I like the characters that they include kind of in this series as like side characters, and we're gonna get into that right now. But I love the opening scenes here, and I think
that's awesome.
Did I start it here? Oh, you know what? I didn't do the share slides thing. Hang on. Let me StreamYard has this new update now, and you can put your slides. Let me just click that. you can choose slides right on here. So here we go. I think I should be able to take this off, process this. Sorry, gang. Now it just says processing at the moment. I'll keep this up for now, but I'm gonna. So actually, let me skip to this. So this is the very first like couple pages, right, where we see Iron Fist just hanging out with what's her name? Aranya? Is that how you say?
Yeah.
Aranya, yeah. So I'm not very familiar with Aranya. When I saw her, I've seen like some covers with her and stuff, but I was kind of like, oh, okay, like where's this going? Obviously, like you're reading a Doctor Strange book, and then my guess was like, oh, they're like at a doctor's office. I was like, maybe they're going to see Doctor Strange. Like I was wondering where this was going. And then Wong just, burst through the door holding Doctor Strange, who's like literally about to die. And I'm like, whoa, this like escalated super quick.
Yeah, no, it's hilarious though when they're sitting there waiting at first and she's like, oh, so you're Iron Fist. He's like, he's like, yes, and something like, no, I don't know where Power Man is. We're partners, not a couple or something. It was
right.
It was funny.
Yeah. There you go. I just switched over here. So yeah, this was a cool little introduction. I really liked it. And then they had I'll go back here. So Paul, tell us a little bit. It's like one of the things that caught my attention that you described to me is that this book, a lot of it or good parts of it were taken and applied to the MCU. And you can see here at the bottom right, obviously from the first Doctor Strange film, which I think is awesome. I had no idea that how closely they tried to really replicate this, which I think is awesome, and the way they did it. So tell me a little bit about that. Like that was something you pointed out to me.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, so reading this, originally many years ago, long before the MCU and Doctor Strange, it was just a great story to read and really like, wow, this is cool. It's a refreshing take on Doctor Strange. So obviously, smart people at Marvel and Disney, probably Kevin Feige, or Feige, I'm not always sure how to pronounce it. Obviously, they mined a lot of what they did for Doctor Strange and the MCU out of this miniseries. Obviously, so this panel you have up here with the image from the movie is very like, I mean, it's almost like word for word. Like that whole segment is very much that scene in the movie is, other than the characters are a little different, obviously.
Sure.
The other cool part about this story, especially issue 1, obviously, because that's where she's introduced, is it kind of brought Night Nurse back to the forefront. I don't know if this preceded her appearances in the Bendis Daredevil series or if that was after this, but probably right around the same time. But anyway, this is when they kind of started to bring her back in. And that whole point of that scene in the beginning of them coming in is like basically she's like the medical expert and doctor for all injured superheroes. So,
right. I was wondering who
you never think of, right? Like where does Spidey go if he sprains his ankle? He can't go to the regular hospital. He goes to see Night Nurse, So it was kind of a cool way to bring her back into it and everything, But totally. This scene is definitely like, once you read this series, then you see the movie again, you see what we're talking about.
Everything kind of clicks. Michelle giving you some crap here. Kevin Feige.
Was it Feige? Feige?
I've heard
Feige.
I
guess,
Feige.
Right?
Yeah.
Feige.
I don't know, so I wouldn't correct you, but either way,
I think it's Feige. I hear it enough on like news shows. And
same.
I don't know what made me say Feige, I guess.
I saw our good friend John in the chat as well. What's going on, John? Thanks for swinging by. I think he's read this before. I think he mentioned he read this.
I didn't say Fiji.
Fiji. I know, she's messing with me.
Oh, shit.
So Coffee and a Comic saying love Night Nurse. So I knew Night Nurse just as a character from older comic books. Didn't realize like the tie-in to how they were kind of writing her in with this this kind of series. So I was surprised to see her at first, which was cool. I'm just like, oh wow, I know nothing about this character, and so I'm curious kind of how they're going to use her and everything. And like you said, it is a funny thing to think about, like these superheroes, they need a place to kind of get bandaged up. She even has like a reference in here towards the end where she references her lawyer that like owes her favors, and I'm assuming Daredevil that she's kind of talking about,
no doubt,
with everything.
So maybe this is after like the Daredevil appearances. I see Coffee in a Comic. He said a crush on Rosario Dawson, but technically she's like a combination in the Netflix shows because she's playing the role of Night Nurse on the show, but her name and character is actually from Luke Cage.
Okay.
Claire
So,
Temple.
so they kind of blended the two characters a
Yeah, they
little bit.
kind of conflated those two characters into one, I guess.
Right, right.
I got you, Michelle. It's cool. My accent is bad enough, but it's now I'm having trouble pronouncing words. Feige, Fiji.
I'm with you there. Um, all right, so this is where so jumping forward here, I meant to show this. This is like just her first opening scene as she comes in. So basically, to kind of recap the general opening to this whole thing is he ends up getting shot, and that's why Wong is bringing him to the nurse. He legit takes a bullet, and it's not just any basic bullet. We find out that one, it was by this creepy dude. I'll get back to that part, but here this guy what's his name?
Brigand, right?
Yeah, Brigand. He was just this like kind of slime ball who, as you can see on the left there, is basically getting paid by someone. We don't know who. We just see a hand there next to this elixir. To his job was to just get this elixir and to take out Doctor Strange in the process. Now he's just a regular dude. Like, I mean, he's like an assassin essentially, but like,
yeah, like
you would
thief, I guess.
Right. You would think Doctor Strange is like, not going to let this guy do anything to him, in that sense. But we do get a little bit of a catch here with this, right? I know we were talking backstage about this, but tell me about his gun that he has.
Yeah, he didn't get shot with just any gun. It was the gun Hitler used to commit suicide, apparently. So
yeah,
this particular gun has a lot of dark energy and magic to it. It's not just any gun. So it was able to actually pierce Doctor Strange's defenses. That's why he was able to actually get shot by it.
Yeah,
I know, man.
I was I was curious wondering where Brian K. Vaughan's mind was when he kind of put this together, because it's definitely out there. But hey, in the world of Doctor Strange, anything's possible, right? So we have Brigand. He's the one that had put him in the hospital, or to shoot him and use this quote unquote special gun. The stuff on the right here is a little bit of a flashback as Doctor Strange tells the story to the night nurse, explaining kind of what had happened. And one of the big things with this series, and it's throughout, it's happening the entire time, is that Wong is sick. He has a brain tumor, and he's going to die fairly soon.
Basically gonna die.
Yeah, and the scene on the right is basically Doctor Strange finding the pills that he was taking to kind of slow down the delay of this sickness that he had, this illness. And he's like, he's like, sorry, I didn't want to tell you until I found a replacement and all this other stuff. But go ahead, Paul, what were you gonna say?
No, Morbius said I'm fresh out of The Sopranos.
Oh. There you go,
man. You're the Jersey guy, not me.
Yeah.
Both you guys. And Jason.
And Jason.
You guys are all down in Jersey. I guess I'd fit right in down
there. You would.
Yeah, no, he's like very upset and like disappointed that Wong kind of was keeping this from him, and Wong was basically just prepared. He says, I think in that, I don't know if it's that exact panel, but he tells him like he's prepping like some nephew he's got, because it's like a family kind of job to be the I don't know what you want to call him. I don't want to call him butler.
No, but
he's basically like to serve the Sorcerer Supreme,
right,
is Wong's job, and if he can't do it, I guess like family members will pick it up. So that's what he's like, basically come to grips with. I'm gonna die. I'm cool with it. I just need to make sure that you're protected. I got to get the next, Wong, quote unquote,
right,
up to speed. And so obviously, when he's throwing his pills, he's very upset about it.
He's pissed. And the other thing too, with him throwing the pills, like we really get his personality similar to the films, where he's very, kind of like, he's cocky and confident, and like he talks about like, why did you take these pills from these amateurs? He uses the word amateurs like multiple times throughout this book, and he references a lot of different.
He's kind of got a lot of disdain for other doctors and stuff.
Yes. Yeah, he's like, I could have, he's like, I could have come up with something. Why didn't you come to me first? I could easily have, like, he has, he just truly believes he could have gotten these solutions, and he would not have to waste his time with these pills. Which, by the way, on a side note, these pills are from this I forget the name of the pill company now.
Timely Pharmaceuticals.
That's it. Timely. Shady. Yeah. Yes.
There's a whole overall theme in this story.
Yeah.
Big pharma and all that. So it's pretty cool, which is kind of ahead of the curve, right? Because that's kind of like a thing the last few years, and it's like you said earlier, this is like 15 years or so ago.
Yep. No, absolutely. So that's like a little sprinkle of like what's to come with this timely pharmaceuticals company. So to kind of fast forward here a little bit, there's eventually the night nurse, she helps Doctor Strange, even though he was, by the way, that was, for anyone not familiar with that, that was him in his astral form trying to like explain to her kind of, or talking to her what to do, and also sharing like what happened and all this stuff. So we're caught up now. I like that Night Nurse and Doctor Strange kind of have this like kind of flirty back and forth with my dear Watson,
Yeah,
and
they
all that
Sherlock and
nicknames,
Holmes. Yeah,
Sherlock. Yeah,
they
yeah.
go back and forth. Holmes and Watson. It's pretty cool.
Right, right. And then this one scene here, which it's like it's really small for me to read on this particular thing, but he basically says we have to go to like one of the most dangerous most dangerous and unknown, places in the universe or whatever, and then it flashes to the Bronx. As like the place that they're going, which I thought was funny. So they're basically going to find this guy, Jonas Hill, or Hilt,
Hilt.
who
Jonas
Hilt.
Hill, I believe is an actor, but
Okay,
Hilt.
that's right, Jonas Hill. Hey, that'd be cool if he was meeting up with Jonah Hill.
He could play him maybe in a movie.
Right, right. So Hilt is an old friend of his, and when we get some flashbacks of that, where even before Doctor Strange became the Sorcerer Supreme, when he's just a surgeon doctor, and even then, like and we get some like history that I forget if I put any of that in here. I don't think I did.
He kind of blows, like he kind of can't help him, right? And he's kind of
Right.
just like dismissive of it to some degree. He's
Yeah,
like,
he wants to like do, well, he says like, I could be saving better, like I could be doing like basically
yeah,
like I could be doing more important jobs is kind of what he says.
basically.
And he dismisses this one guy, and that's kind of what this story is, partially about, or at least where it kind of like kicks in from. And I was trying to see here, I thought I wrote down the guy's name. Reginald Pavlish is like the character's name who he
He
dismisses.
doesn't meet a good end, but he
No. So this guy Jonas, he's trying to touch base with him because he sent samples of this potion. Oh, I kind of skipped that part. The potion, the elixir that we saw here, he discovers he was trying to get this potion for Wong. To cure Wong, and it turns out he kind of accidentally got a much stronger potion, and this potion has the ability to cure cancer. So that's why it's like an extra big deal on top of.
And I think it acts like it'll cure all disease and sickness like on the planet.
Yeah.
But Doctor Strange, because he's so kind of obsessed with saving his friend, that he's like we'll do it. And that the kind of protagonist of this story basically tells him like, you can't do that. Like the basically like the world would crumble if you like instantly cured all disease and sickness. Like we'd be overrun with population and just
there'd be other problems.
The resources and supplies would be run out. Like you while well intentioned, you really couldn't do that, unfortunately.
Yeah. Where's my note here? I was going to say the other thing too with this whole thing, that why they even call this story the Oath is because Doctor Strange talks about a couple different times, he mentions in the book, but that he took this oath, and the oath is never to withhold treatment from patients under your care. That's like the main kind of thought process, and that certainly plays a part as we get as we get towards the end. But that's one of the things too. Like he wanted to save Wong, that was one of the priorities, and so he goes back, gets this elixir, but because this elixir, it gets out on the market, they find out about it, and basically now we're caught up where the we find out that the Timely, the people that work over at Timely, they end up hiring
they were kind of the ones who hired. They were basically the ones who wanted it stolen, I believe. Correct.
That's it. Yeah, and it was
the way I took it.
Yeah, and it was the main villain. Oh, I can't remember his name now.
Nicodemus West.
Dr.
West.
That's right, Dr. West.
Who's
that's
actually
right.
in the movie, a version of the character, I guess.
Okay.
Yeah, that doctor in the movie that works on his hands that he bitches out after because he says he did a terrible job and all that.
Right.
I think his name was Dr. West.
So that's another big part too. I didn't get the pictures in here, but that's another good part too that they kind of took from this. So I didn't realize that was him or the name. So that's
the name. Cool. I guess I don't think because
it wasn't like he didn't have a big role. Right?
Spoilers, but in this story, that guy turns out to be a somewhat low level sorcerer, dark magic practitioner, which in the movie he's not. But
right. He's just kind of a regular.
He's just a regular
Joe Schmo. What up, JD? Raging Cajun in the
Hey,
house. Good to see you, my friend.
get that X-Men 101 ready, buddy. I'm ready to crack it open.
Oh, that's right. I heard you guys talking.
I'm sharpening
So
up my scissors as we speak.
is that what that noise is? uh, again, just gonna, I'm jumping around here a little bit, but this
That
is like,
panel down there is awesome with all his like if you're really versed in
mhm,
Doctor Strange, you can probably name all those villains in there. I can see one of the mindless ones and
yep.
it's
And
just a
that's
cool
that
panel.
that to me was like, and I know, like, I've seen just from reading some of the other Doctor Strange books that I had mentioned earlier in the stream, like, I totally get that vibe, and I think they did a good job here with kind of keeping that theme of like, I was waiting for this. I was waiting, like, when are we going to get to the universe, type, or otherworldly, panels, I guess I should say. So this was a cool kind of scene here. And so we learned that Brigand here, this is, I think, at the end of like issue 2, where he eventually captures the night nurse. And then they end up going into this other verse, right? And trying to fight Brigand, who is really just a regular guy. But
This
it
is
turns out
basically inside Brigand's mind. He
mine.
kind of
Okay,
goes
that's it.
into
Yeah,
because he
that's right.
goes to question him, and this is all real fresh in my brain. I just
Yeah,
reread
yeah,
it,
yeah,
so
yeah, yeah. No, it's great.
I don't mean to like
No, no, do it.
I don't
You're
want to come
good.
across like a know-it-all or anything.
No,
It's just
you're
I
not.
just
You're not.
happened to read this, so but no, he ties this guy up once he subdues him, and he
Yeah.
tries to like
Okay,
he
that's right.
says he's gonna like basically question him, and the guy's like, oh, the people, the sorcerer that basically hired me put something in my mind where you won't be able to like read my mind, basically. And Strange is like, yeah, okay, well, we'll see about that. And he
Right.
goes like into his, so this is like inside his mind.
Yeah, and so these are all the distractions, right? So like
Yeah,
Strange is like, well,
exactly.
first he sees the one at the top right, which I don't know his name, but the character on the top.
Dormammu, yeah,
Is that Dormammu? Oh, is that
yeah,
Dormammu? Okay, so
yeah.
I didn't realize that was him. So so first we see him, and he's like, "Oh, you're behind this." Like, he just thinks that, but then he sees all these other villains, and he clearly sees that it's a setup, basically, that it's a distraction, that he's not gonna, easily just figure this out. And clearly, there is some sort of sorcery behind this guy Brigand that he's had help with.
Exactly.
By the way, Inja, thank you. Yes, you certainly should
I appreciate it. Yeah, it's a great read.
check this out. Yeah.
Definitely give it a read.
Yep. Kenneth Bird in the house. What's going on, Kenneth? Thanks for swinging by. So some cool panels there. Let's see. And then actually, before we go further, I wanted to go back to this because you had mentioned this
Yes.
before we went on. And I like this too, because this kind of sums up a little bit of his background without having to go through a long version of like knowing who Doctor Strange is. So if you're not very familiar with Doctor Strange, if you're newer to reading his stuff like me, then this was a nice little kind of recap in a way.
Basically, just like a cool double page spread. I think it's a double page
spread
of his basically his origin. You kind of see it all right there. His kind of he's basically kind of basically an a-hole as a doctor up top.
Yeah.
And then he had his accident, and then his hands are crippled, and he goes to find I mean, it's basically just like, but the art and the way the panel's done on a tree, which is ironic because I believe he crashed into a tree.
Into a tree.
It's cool.
Yep. Well said.
Michael, there's a great panel with Nightmare too. There is.
Yeah.
Actually, right after those, I think after Dormammu.
Yeah,
I think it's like a few pages after that.
Is that on the right, or is that
no, that's some other thing.
Okay.
I forget the name of it. Apparently it's killed other Sorcerer Supremes and stuff, but I forget.
Oh, right.
It almost looks quickly like the Shumagorath or Gigantos, whatever. If you saw the little brief trailer of Doctor Strange after Spidey, he's fighting that big one-eyed kind of squid-looking thing. I thought that's what that was, but it's
okay. It's different
character.
So this is them after this whole thing that they've gone through, basically, and I know I'm jumping around here and skipping through. And yeah, Paul, feel free if anything that stands out, jump in.
It's a lot to. I mean,
it's
a great read. It's not like it's a lot. Like it's like
right. But there's details. There's details.
Yeah, it's just a lot of little fine.
Yeah.
Like even the elixir. It's a Ot Kid the Omnipotent, I think. And Ot Kid is Ditko spelled backwards.
Oh man, see that? Okay, so that's the reference you're talking about. That's cool. I didn't catch that.
He kind of paid homage to the original. So
all these names, man, I just look at them. I'm like, oh, okay, it's another Doctor Strange name. It's another name.
Stan Lee was just throwing shit out there.
Yeah. I was like, I'll go with it. I'll just go with it.
Yeah, he's just whatever crazy weird spelled words. That'll be his, incantation,
Yep.
is
Yep.
cool.
So this thing on the left here is the night nurse's hospital or hospice,
Yes, yeah.
basically, and it's up in flames, and that's where we see on the next page here this this creature or monster basically doing some work here, doing some damage, and it's right after they just had this long day of trying to take out Brigand and all this other stuff and get to the bottom of things. Meanwhile, the other thing too, Wong, I know we mentioned this before, but Wong kind of like has a couple moments where he like passes out, where he clearly is like getting like pretty sick. So urgent,
Yeah, no, he's definitely he's suffering. He's kind of sucking it up to help Doctor Strange, because that's like his. Speaking of oath, he mentions in one point speaking about his oath. So it's kind of like a double edged. Like they both feel like they're.
Yep.
I don't want to say burdened, but they're both like living up to this oath that they both have.
Yeah.
Even though they're different, but they're both like equally committed, I guess you would say, or equally, all in, so to speak.
Yeah. Yep. I like the connection, how that is. Let's see. PJ King says Marvel is releasing a couple of Doctor Strange Omnis this year. The one I am looking forward to is Doctor Strange Omnibus Volume 3, which collects the David Quinn run, which is excellent. Oh, that sounds cool.
So David Quinn, I don't know, was that the end of the Sorcerer Supreme run, maybe from like the 90s? I'm not familiar, honestly, with
okay.
I read a lot of the early stuff. Most of that series, honestly, is written by Roy Thomas, so it's really good.
Oh,
but
nice.
Kind of like all comics, at least personally to me, by the mid 90s, they were just kind of bad. So I kind of stopped buying them. So I kind of tapped out of Doctor Strange before it reached the end, which because they like rebooted him and he was young and he had a soul patch with like long hair, they just,
different times.
Yeah, different times for sure.
Inja says, hit us with that knowledge, Paul. Yeah, Paul is dropping the fire here. As Rachel says here. Hey, we got Travis in the house. TM Nerdy, station to you, my friend. Good to see you as well. Let's see. Yeah, PJ says yes, it was a Sorcerer Supreme run. The end of it. Okay. So there you go.
I think Warren Ellis did some of the issues too towards the end.
Oh, okay. All right.
Those I did have at one point, but I don't have them anymore.
Yeah. So this was, I just wanted to throw this scene in here. This is the Timely pharmaceutical company who's basically telling West, who they've been working with. West has kind of been playing this. He's been playing both sides a little bit. Like he kind of has his own thing overall that he wants to do. But he's been working with Timely, trying to steal this elixir basically. But Timely doesn't want that. Like they want to destroy it, right? That essentially.
Yeah, because basically, I think we were kind of going to head down towards this before, and we could probably start talking about something else. Get distracted.
Talking about X-Men. Yeah.
Obviously, yeah. The Timely Pharmaceutical Corporation. He calls them the overlords. These people that he reports to. But basically, this elixir can heal everything. So obviously, if you're a pharmaceutical company trying to sell meds and make millions and billions, obviously this is the last thing you'd want. So yeah, they basically want him to destroy it, which he kind of will and would, but at the same time, maybe it's like his previous doctor training or his previous life as a doctor. He is conflicted a little bit about it.
Yep.
So that's why he keeps it. Because Strange even keeps saying to him a little later on, like, why, like basically, I see you still haven't destroyed it. Like you something in you is it's like telling you like this, not to. But
yeah. So he's definitely struggling there a little bit. I like too that these. I like the way the art is with the Timely folks like up top. Like they're very almost like not human.
No features.
Yeah, no feet. Right. No. Very plain and dark, like almost like cold. This evil corporation, Yeah, cold. Yeah. Which I like the that kind of how, as the artist Martin
cool.
there.
I never even really like thought of it like that, but now that you mention it, it is very it
gives you those vibes. Like
very
like the corporate doesn't care. Right. Yeah. Very blank.
We're all about the bottom line.
Yeah, exactly. So all right, here's one of my favorite scenes of this book. And again, I know I'm jumping ahead. This is probably issue 4 now, I think, that we're kind of falling into. But basically the team there, first of all, I like that panel on the left, that pink and red, like the colors that they show. Great. Yeah, them showing up to kind of capture Dr. West, who surprises them and puts this spell, this like cage spell on them, which you can see on the right hand side, where the three of them are now trapped essentially. And I like even at the top right, Night Nurse basically says like, "Am I the only one that doesn't do magic here?"
I know.
Like randomly, everybody's just doing magic.
This is kind of the first time that you see that, Dr. West here is like also. I think maybe earlier he did something, but this is kind of the first time they see him like using magic.
Yep. So that definitely, really stood out to me there. And so because of that, he captures him. He, Dr. West thinks he's, basically he has the upper hand now. Doctor Strange is stuck. They're all stuck. And so he explains to him the whole like story, right? About like kind of why he, or how he got these abilities basically. And so a lot of issue 4 focused around Dr. West and his travels. And basically what he said was, after I had, attempted to, or I saved you, but we didn't save your hands. I think he kind of wanted to follow up with him on that, or try to help him even further. So he follows Doctor Strange, kind of as Doctor Strange goes on his own path to find, stumble across the Ancient One and become who he's become. So he's a little behind on all this stuff, but he slowly runs into the Ancient One as well, as he's backtracking all the different steps that Strange had taken. So because of that, he ends up working with the Ancient One. Like the Ancient One was like, and even Doctor Strange is like, why would the Ancient One help you? Why would he train someone else when he's already trained me? And he even says, he's like, well, in case you didn't make it, like he wasn't sure if you were gonna make it to become the Sorcerer Supreme. He doesn't know, so he has to have like many pupils. So it makes sense, Yeah,
he kind of like mocks him, like, oh, you thought you were the only one, like, he's kind of like.
Yeah. Trying to put him in his place a little bit.
Yeah, a little bit, like.
Like you're not special, and so that was.
But then he didn't have like the patience to kind of see it through, so he left early. He's
right. He didn't go through all of it,
and he kind of turned, kind of like Star Wars style. He kind of turned to the dark side after he left the Ancient One, so he became, more dark magic, I guess you would say. But I think if I recall, he goes back to kind of just being a doctor again, I believe, right?
Yeah. So he kind of picks up where he left off, but he has these abilities in the back of his head. He knows. He's even like admitted, like in the scenes prior, like some of this, I think, is where he was talking about how like he doesn't really use his magic anymore. He's kind of retired that part of himself, but it's definitely there. So obviously now, that's another thing he kind of shows Doctor Strange. He's like, I haven't been doing this very long, but I know all these things. And that scene on the bottom left there is where he's like saying these magic words to begin with. That's how he's like kind of capturing them. By the way, I want to say a quick hello to Dale. Dale Suspense hanging out with us. What's going on, Dale? And Moonlit saying this has been a great discussion so far. Love it. Appreciate you, Michelle, and everybody hanging out. We've been having a strong 17 to 20 people hanging out with us this whole time, Paul. So cool. Good stuff there. I appreciate everybody hanging out here and just supporting us here. And again, make sure if you guys aren't following Paul, I'm sure most of you guys know and talk with him already, but if you don't, you certainly should. And I put his information in the description.
Appreciate it.
So, so moving on here, we kind of jump into, Michael said, there's almost an equal and opposite with Strange and West. Bad Doctor gone good and good Doctor gone bad. Well said. Yeah, for sure. For sure, definitely getting those.
They kind of, Doctor Strange was kind of a jackass when he went, well, not exactly when he went to go see the Ancient One, but prior to that, right? So then he came out of that like a better person, whereas Dr. West, presumably was a decent guy and doctor who went to go to the Ancient One, and when he left, he became, he took a turn for the worse. So it's a good point. Yep.
We got the art chemist hanging out with us saying what's good, and we also got Todd Christian in the house saying hello as well. Appreciate you guys swinging by here. So again, if you guys are just jumping in, we're talking about Doctor Strange, The Oath. We're about 4 issues in out of the 5-issue miniseries here from Brian K. Vaughan and Marcos Martin. So then this is the other extra scene, right? So after this scene, right, he tells the whole story, he captures them, and Dr. West basically explains all the details of like how he got to where he is and how he got these abilities. And then after he knows everything, Doctor Strange just steps out of this thing like nothing. And I love this scene. He's just like, you really think you could hold me
the whole time? Yeah,
right. This was so dope, man. This was great. I just loved like seeing him push that out of nowhere. Dr. West was like, obviously his face getting smashed to the glass there. Right? Right. And the only thing that slows this scene down is the fact that, and I put it on the right hand side there, is Wong literally passes out. Like, and again,
Yeah,
we've
she
had
says
a
he's
few
dead, I
scenes.
believe, but he's
Oh, that,
technically
yeah.
not yet.
So like he like just drops, and that's kind of, he's like, he's bled before, he's been like in and out, unconscious. Here, this is like kind of the final straw. So he just drops to his knees again. He's completely knocked out. And so that's kind of how the fourth issue ends. But yeah, this was an awesome moment here. Any other thoughts on this before I jump into the next slide here?
I mean, this scene was awesome, but just to go back a few scenes, that big creature we were talking about that destroyed Night Nurse's hospital, this big.
Yeah.
So Doctor Strange in the next few panels explains to I guess Wong and Night Nurse that this creature or this demon, whatever he is, he's killed Sorcerer Supremes going back to the 1500s or something. He mentions, and then he says, so basically, Doctor Strange tries to stop fighting him, and this thing eats his cloak of levitation and his
that's right.
Agamotto.
That's right. Yeah.
So they're like basically like, well, what are you gonna do? How are you gonna defeat him? And basically, he uses Hitler's gun to shoot him and kill him. So
that's right. Oh, I totally forgot that.
That was the only like powerful, I guess, magical type, weapon or device he had, because this thing stripped him of everything else.
Everything else. Yeah.
He ends up shooting it with the gun and defeats it. So
I love that they brought that gun back into play, and it actually helps. Like I mentioned before, that there's just not enough to be able to, like, screenshot everything. So I'm glad that you brought that up, Paul, because that is a great scene, a great part to that. So yeah, so and then like I said, so here, like, you're smashing Dr. West kind of catches him off guard when he breaks out of this little trap or whatever. And then we get into again this, I kind of jump next into the fight scene, kind of in the end.
This scene was badass though.
Yeah, man, like Doctor Strange taking his glove off the way he does, like, in his, you see his hands kind of like,
Yeah, this guy Dr. West puts on like some spell where neither one of them can use any magic for 3 minutes, and then he thinks he's going to proceed to kick Doctor Strange's ass because they don't have any magic. But as Doctor Strange explains in these panels, Wong, among many things, is like a master of I guess fisticuffs, you may say, so in martial arts. So basically Doctor Strange is like a friggin' black belt, and he proceeds to kick this guy's ass. It was really cool.
And it's like, there's like, I get like, there was like one or two other pages of like these type of fight scenes, which, by the way, I really liked seeing the rain. Even that bottom right hand panel there, just seeing him kind of standing there and the rain coming down on him is badass. And he Dr. West does get a couple shots in at first. So
he does.
That first moment, I'm like, ooh, like, this is not good. Like, it definitely leads you, kind of strings you along there for a second. Like, oh man, is he gonna get out of this? But then, as you can see on that right, like, he does this like drop kick to his gut and kind of flips things around. So that,
I love that panel though, when he's sliding his glove off and his hands the best. All like, it's all like deformed and kind of effed up, but it's cool.
Totally. And so then here, after he basically like shocks Dr. West again, as his plans are not working, he kind of chases him off the edge of this building. They've been fighting on the top of this building. And as you can see on the right hand side, that elixir that he has smashes to the ground. And basically, like, there's just a tiny drip or two that are on this piece of glass that he picks up, and he realizes, like, this is not good. Clearly, this, again, for those just joining, like, this elixir, what's in it has the ability to cure cancer. And so this is something, obviously, Doctor Strange has wanted to bring back to his lab so that he can actually create multiple, save Wong, and then see what he would do with the rest of the world with it. And now it's kind of gotten
do you think they ever really,
option.
Though? I'm thinking about it. Not to cut you off, but just when you said that, it made me think of it. Would he have really used it for everybody? He doesn't really ever say definitively, right? His sole purpose is like to save Wong. And if he had to use that elixir, and a byproduct of that was it was saving a lot of other people, so be it. But his purpose was to save Wong, I think.
So at the very end, and it's really like this.
He kind of has
he has a moment. Yeah,
Yeah.
so he does think about, like, he does say, like, well, I could have used this for all
To
these other
make more.
things.
Yeah.
Yeah, to make more, to do all this other stuff. But there's a big but where he's like, but I have an oath. And that's where the oath, that's where the title comes in.
Yeah.
That's what I
The
really
oath. Yep.
liked, that they kept this theme of the oath coming back in again. And he's like, my oath is, and I mentioned this before, I read the piece of it where he says, I took an oath never to withhold treatment from patients under my care. That is like, that's what the oath is. And so he kept looking at Wong. And then the other point that he makes here in this one panel, and again, I can't read it. Actually, let me pull it up because I have a close up of this. But the one sentence that he says here is, let me see. He says, you should be you should be pleased to know in your examination that you're cancer free. Basically, is what he says. He goes, wait, you saved my life, and he goes, oh, he goes, no, it was night nurse that actually kept you stable, yada yada yada. After the last drop, he goes, the final drop. He goes, but if the last drop of potion is already dispersed throughout my system, how will you treat others? And he always says at first is that he stutters. He goes, that isn't important right now. All that matters is that you're alive and well. But then he says, you see, it was you who saved my life last night, just as I'm sure you'll save it many times again. This was the very least I owed you. One of the things that I took from that moment is the fact that obviously Wong plays such a big role, and who knows how many other times he's really saved Doctor Strange's life. And by him saving Doctor Strange's life, that allows Doctor Strange to save the lives of millions just from fending from all these villains. So that was at least where my mind kind of went with some of that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, that makes sense. It's by saving Doctor Strange in the future.
Right. He's like,
he will then anybody Doctor Strange saves after that,
it
by
led
extension,
to that. Right.
Yeah.
So in a way, he is saving millions of lives. It's just in a different kind of aspect of it. And of course, as the oath says, like he owes it to Wong, and obviously they're friends, they're best friends. They're he wants to help his friends. So
there is a panel in here, a couple panels, and one of the issues I'd have to find it, but it made me think of the what if. I don't know if we
on the show,
like kind of, I guess I would call him like evil, kind of maniac Doctor Strange that's in that episode. Right. He almost kind of manifests himself in this story in a couple panels where he's talking about something and the guy questions him and he's like basically the Sorcerer Supreme, I don't care about the laws of man of whatever. He doesn't say like the US, but whatever. Basically
the laws
in
of
the
man.
way he's drawn, he's like all in shadow and you just see his eye. Like he looks like he's like, he could lose it basically. So
that's a good point. And I just watched that not too long ago, that episode. So that's kind of been fresh in my mind recently, and seeing that part. So, but yeah, I mean, that dialogue, he does have that dark side, and that could, obviously that could easily be a split, down that road.
I just think it's like just a byproduct of being who he is. He is kind of on like that razor's edge. Like he could, it wouldn't take much to kind of push him.
Yep.
I need to find that panel right now. It's driving me crazy.
Real quick, want to say a quick hello to Bobby Delgado Station, my friend. And we also have Fire Guy Ryan in the house, who, by the way, I'm going to be hanging out with this Saturday at 2:00 Eastern for Comic Collector Origins. Going to be interviewing Fire Guy Ryan. It's going to be a lot of fun. I have not had an Origins show since this middle of December. So going to be good to get that show back on track. So thanks for swinging by.
See that, but
yeah, here, let me there you go.
So basically,
I remember this.
So basically, he's gonna lock that brigand guy in his own mind, kind of, I guess, drive him crazy type of thing. And so Night Nurse says to him, "Wait, you're going to lock him inside his own mind? What about due process?" And he says, "Sorcerers have little patience for the laws of nature, and even less for the laws of man." But he looks like evil, kind of, in that panel.
Yep. I see that eye, that one eye that he has.
And he's like all in the shadow. He looks creepy. He looks like a Disney villain almost.
He does like Jafar. Yeah, Jafar.
But it's just a cool, it just lets you know, he seems kind of silly and he's got the colorful outfit and the pajamas on and all that, but he's, not only will he kick your ass because he's like a black belt, he's also does have a dark kind of side to him that he will, break out when necessary.
Totally. Totally. It's almost like he has to have that dark side in him to be able to have that understanding of the universe and everything, the multiverse and so on and so forth. Ninja says, I think the glove panel is one of my favorites. Yeah, the one where he's pulling that glove off.
I like that.
Totally.
Because it shows you he's like he's damaged, but he's still,
Yep.
Because a lot of times you don't realize like this dude was like in a serious accident and his hands are, they show it in the movies, like even though he's, I guess, technically cured and he's the Sorcerer Supreme and all that, he's still got that shake. At least he's supposed to, that's even in the comics. He's like that. So
Michael says, hoping to leave. So I think the last page I actually do have in here, but I certainly could, give a warning at least anybody who doesn't want to see the last page. Actually, let me see so I only have I have 2 slides. I know we're a little over an hour. Thank you all for hanging out here. We're almost, we'll wrap this up here as we're getting towards basically the very end, but and I realize now I had those 2 panels that we're looking at right now. Those 2 pages are actually flopped. The one on the right actually came first, and then that's where he's first making the decision. And
right.
And the outer body, Nick West is basically telling him like, hey, he's like this ghost now at this point. It's his astral projection, but he's just like, you have this choice here, make it on your own. And he has this whole dialogue to him, but here is the second to last thing, but this is like kind of what I was reading before, where he talks about the decisions he's made and why he made them. So I forgot I actually put it a little bit more of a larger zoom up here. Should I? Why? I don't know why Michael doesn't want me to.
Yeah, I think if you
we're spoiling
put it this way, put it this way: if you read this, because obviously we kind of talk pretty in depth about it, but still read it. It's a great read, and the art and the panels and everything. Yeah. But basically, the last panel, I think you kind of know. If you once you're
wondering when this is going to happen,
it's like it was inevitable. So.
I'm going to it. Here we go. Hold on to your seats.
Which I'm curious. I want to ask because someone spoke about Doctor Strange in like New Avengers and stuff, and some of those series I'm not quite as well read, but I want to know now, was what this last panel shows ever followed up on?
All right, here it is. Ready? Drum roll. Here we go.
Someone knows that in the chat. I appreciate it.
There you go. Last panel reveal right there. Yeah, and just to show it. So
that was a preferred ending. Yeah, no, it was. But I want to know, was this ever followed up on, or was this just like, heat of the moment and then he said so lame. I don't know if that was like, he just wrote it off and because I don't really know where Doctor Strange went from here. I don't know if that's probably shortly after was the New Avengers, I would guess. Civil War. Because in Civil War, he was trying to remain neutral, if I believe, but then eventually he helps the kind of the underground heroes.
Hey, of course, this Clea is not. She's not going to be happy about this. I only know Clea because of the new stuff right now. That's my only reason why I'm familiar with that character.
She's about to be the new Sorcerer Supreme, I believe.
Yeah. Have you? I was going to ask if you're reading the current stuff.
I did. I read was it Death of Doctor Strange? I think I've read the first 2 or 3.
Okay, I like it. I like it.
I didn't. I think issue 4 came out. I don't.
It just yet. Yeah.
Do you know how long that series is? Is it 5
it's short.
Issues,
it's short. It's I want to say there's like altogether with tie-ins there's like 9 or 10 issues total. I haven't been reading the tie-ins, but I think this is either 5 or 6 altogether. So
and I know there was some tie-in issues to the Death of Doctor Strange, like I think there was a Daredevil issue, and
a couple other.
Was there an X-Men? I don't think maybe there was an X-Men one, but I forget. I know there was a few other ones, but I didn't pick them up either. So
right.
No, not Hickman's New Avengers. The Bendis New Avengers.
Ryan saying Hickman New Avenger wasn't until
the prior series, but Jason said that this didn't happen in that. So
okay.
So I guess this was the end of it. It was one night stand apparently.
Michael says
one night nurse stand apparently.
There you go. So this has been the 5-issue series, Doctor Strange, The Oath, again written by Brian K. Vaughan and hold on, let me
it's a great series. Pick them up if you see them. It should be relatively cheap, I would imagine, but some of the covers are sweet.
Yeah, Marcos Martin doing the covers there. Great stuff.
Yeah, that cover's my favorite though.
It is great. Yeah, especially the solid white behind it. It's cool to have this experience now. And again, from someone who's never really read it before or read any Doctor Strange, you know, this is a series that I would like to keep an eye out for. I wouldn't mind owning all 5 issues at some point, and I have this kind of connection with it now, and I really enjoyed this. So again, if you guys missed the beginning, you know, Paul and I both gave this a 9 out of 10. We really enjoyed this overall as a whole, and this is very easy to read, very easy read, very digestible. It's not too overwhelming. It's not too confusing. It's pretty straightforward.
It's not ultra like
Right.
unnecessarily complex or anything. You know, it's
Right.
just solid. So I don't
Yep.
know. Now you've probably read a lot more Vaughan than me. Is this typical of his kind of style? Would you say?
I would say not. It's not what Saga is. I would say that.
Did
So
he
I
do
don't.
Why the Last Man Standing too? Was that Vaughan?
Oh, was that Vaughn?
I feel like it is, but I could be wrong.
You know, I have that trade. I think you're right. I think it is. Which I haven't read. I watched some of the show, but I haven't read that. But yeah, I don't know enough Vaughn to say, you know, that's his style or not. But you know, I like Saga, but they're certainly two different, you know, atmospheres altogether.
Okay, so different thing.
But Morb saying great review. Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. Thank everybody for hanging out here with us.
Definitely.
Let's see. Ryan says this was my first Doctor Strange book too. I also recommend it big time. Yeah. So for me, I would agree and say just what you did, Paul.
Yes.
Like anyone that ever comes to me for some Doctor Strange suggestions, this would definitely be something that I would have at the forefront for sure. You know, even though I'm unexperienced still and still, you know, learning as I go, but definitely was fun. Inja says would love to see you two do more of these. Yeah, well, you know, Inja, it's tough to get this man on. He costs a lot of money, so I'm gonna have to see if
I'm still waiting on a couple other checks from Justin. So
yeah.
Actually, I was thinking though, when I dug this miniseries out, it was in a box.
Nice.
This is a completely different series, but
yeah.
I found my my Cage series from roughly around the same time, 5-issue miniseries about Luke Cage, but it's not the yellow blouse wearing Luke Cage. Like it's more the current, I guess you would say, the Netflix interpretation. Actually, it was more obviously much prior to Netflix. The Bendis New Avengers, Luke Cage, that take on him. Anyway, read that Cage series. It's great.
Okay.
I thought it was Vaughan, but I just saw, and it's now I'm blanking on the guy's name. Who wrote what is it, 100 Bullets or something?
Oh yeah. Oh,
something with an R, right? I feel like it's something with an R.
Is it Remender? Did he do that or
no? It's something like
man. Jason and I were just looking at 100 Bullets. Oh man, if Jason's here still, he might know it. We were just looking at it.
It was him who wrote that, and because I read an.
Oh, Azzarello, Brian Azzarello.
Azzarello, that's him. Okay. That's it. So I think that was him who wrote that Cage series. I remember reading an article one time about Luke Cage, and they were asking Bendis about like how he feels about the way he's represented, and this like basically they were trying to credit him for that version. He was like, "Oh no, it wasn't me. It was Azzarello wrote that series first, and then we all kind of took from that." But anyway, just if you want another good read that miniseries. It's really
sweet. Good. Sweet, man. Well, look, I mean, hey, I know there's a lot of different things that we're all reading right now, and I know Daredevil. I hope that you're on board with kind of reading along with us too. But yeah, man, Paul, I would love to do something like this again sometime, man. You know me, man. I two things I love: reading the books and then talking about the books. And so anyone that is down to do both of those things with me, I'm all for. So if you ever want to get together again and do something like this, we can certainly chop it up. Sure. And again, by the way, 62 says Paper Girls, that was Brian K. Vaughan too. That was a big indie title. I haven't read that yet either, but I'm not
quite sure what else he's written for. Did he write the Hood miniseries? Actually, I found that in my miniseries box too, the Hood, which is really good. So
nice.
I think that is Vaughan as well.
Daryl says, we doing this for Daredevil. We could, Daryl. I didn't know how you wanted to go about this, but we 100% could kind of come on a channel and talk about it. I would love that. So we definitely could do that. It could just be a free for all. I don't know if I would do all the fancy panels like I did for this, but you know, either way, we can hang, we could talk. I just read 158, man, so I'm ready to talk about it. So maybe we'll have to
kind of a little pet peeve of mine, not pet peeve, but like so the Miller run. Well, artistically, that's his run, but technically 158 was written by Roger Mackenzie.
I was gonna say, yeah.
He's the writer up until 167, and then
Okay.
168 up is Miller
That's so
technically.
that's what we had talked about initially was like, where do we want to start? Do we want to start
Mhm.
with, just his artwork, obviously, which is
Mhm.
158, or do we want to start? So I was like, or I think it was Daryl that
No,
kind of
I
suggested,
would
but either
say
way,
it's the Miller run. I mean,
it's
you gotta
still,
start at
yeah,
158. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
And I'll tell you, 158, I still enjoyed it. Like it was about Night
Oh,
Stalker. Night
no,
Stalker is a
great, yeah.
psycho, man.
Some
Uh,
even the preceding issues before Miller was drawing it,
yeah,
the, issues written by Mackenzie were good. I think he has had, like, a horror background, so, like, not that there's horror involved necessarily, but it is kinda like a dark kind of,
yeah,
the Annie men and stuff. I mean, they're pretty creepy
yeah.
anyway,
The
but
Annie
and
Man, and
Deathstalker obviously is definitely a
so, and I didn't know anything about Deathstalker, and we won't get into details, but Annie-Men, I'm glad you bring them up because I knew Annie-Men. The only reason I knew them was because they're in early issues of X-Men, and John and I
yes.
had broken down with the Annie-Men, and like it was like, oh man, I know these guys, I know these
Yeah,
clowns,
they're in X-Men, yeah, like 95, right?
95,
94,
yeah, yeah,
95, something,
yeah,
yeah.
Doctor Navario or whatever his name,
Doctor, Count Nefaria, yeah.
Count Nefario. Hey, we got Damien in the house, Sleepy Reader 666. Good to see you. We're just wrapping up here. But appreciate everybody hanging. Again, Daryl says, I just want to soak it all in, man. We can 100% do something like that, man. We could have a bunch of
Cool.
people on just talking Daredevil. I would love it. So good stuff there. Again, everybody in the chat, thank you so much for hanging out. If you're watching this on the replay, thanks for taking that time to do so. Take a moment and smash the like button, subscribe to the channel, and make sure you're following Paul over on Instagram. Paul, you're always posting some incredible books. I mean, to me, you own everything. You are the collector when it comes to that stuff, man. And it's all in pristine shape, which I appreciate. So always
tried. It pays to have collected a long, long time. So
true.
I can't nearly afford any of these books anymore, but
nowadays.
thankfully I've had them a long time.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. Well, good stuff. And again, everybody in the chat, thanks for hanging out with us. Paul, man, I appreciate you, brother. This has been a blast.
Man.
So
this was a great time.
100%, man. We'll do more of this, and guys, just stay tuned. If you guys have any questions, you want to talk comics, reach out to us over on Instagram. Otherwise, I'm going to be over on Team Nerd Herd in about 15 minutes, so go check us out over there. I'll be talking with them in their Mondo mail call that they do every Thursday, so I'm pumped to kick off the new year with that as well. So hope you all are doing well. Go into the weekend and enjoy it, and have a safe one, and we'll talk to you later.